Welcome back to Where Are All My Friends? This is a really cool episode this week. It is with OK Kenji, who is an artist and producer, but the reason it's so rad is he found me through the podcast. He was a listener and fan of the podcast, hits me up on Instagram, and I liked his project so much that I then became a fan of what he was doing. And it was this really weird, cool, full circle moment where it was like, bro, I like what you do. And he was like, bro, I like what you do. And then he was here in LA and we got to record this podcast in person. And it was literally our first time meeting in real life, all because of the podcast. So on a bigger level, I just think that's so cool. And thank you to everyone who has listened. And thank you to everyone who has spread the word, because as it grows, cool moments like this happen. So this episode was also really cool because he really didn't want to make it about himself. He is a fan of podcasts and likes to use them to learn as much as he possibly can. So this episode was a lot less of his story and a lot more of him sharing specifically what he did to get signed as an artist. We very much get into Facebook marketing and how to promote yourself as an artist online with paid ads. And we also get into the importance of community and what you do once you acquire a new fan online, how to actually make them a real fan and how to make a connection and how valuable that is. So we talked a lot about how he built his Discord channel to become so big and what that's led to. So a very, very valuable episode that I think everyone will like. And if you do, the only thing I ask is share it with another friend that you think might like it. I put so much time into this podcast purely to help people. And the more it grows, the more I can have conversations like this with more cool people and hopefully help even more people. So that does help a lot. Enjoy. Where are all my friends? Sitting down with Kenji. And this is a really cool one because we're friends because of the internet and actually a little bit because of this podcast too. And this is one of those moments where I'm just like, there's a lot of bad and there's a lot of annoying parts of the internet, but there's also some magical parts where you can make friends and great connections and find art and music through it. And I feel like this is exactly what happened in our case.
Heck yeah.
So selfishly, I really want to hear your side of you finding the podcast because that's so cool to me. Like that's how we kind of started talking.
Absolutely.
But I also do kind of want to hear just a little bit about you and like your artist project and how what you're up to, where you got to where you're at, and really just paint that picture. So for a listener who doesn't know who you are, let them know.
Yeah. So I'm OK Kenji. I'm a producer, songwriter, recording artist. The last one is the most recent thing.
Okay.
Just started putting up music last year.
Really?
Yeah. And I guess that's the long and the short of it.
It is. Yeah.
But your first question, how we met, well, we met today. We met like a little...
in person. We met literally
like 10 minutes
less
ago.
Than an hour ago.
Yeah, something like that. Real quick, how do I word this? Because I was a listener first and now I'm on the podcast. Has anyone else?
Oh shit.
Has that been the case?
Has there been like the original, like straight up found the podcast, like just a listener?
As a fan first. I was a fan of the pod and now I'm a guest.
You might be the first.
Heck yes.
You actually might be the first. Because straight up, we started talking in DMs. You followed me on Instagram. And I was like, dude, this is cool. Yeah. And you're like, what you're doing is cool. And I was like, what?
Well, because I DM'd you and I was like, hey, man, I just wanted to let you know that I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've been learning a lot. And it's really cool. I don't know. Like, I met Josh through you.
Yep. Shout out Josh Heppel.
Exactly. And I remember even when I was talking to him, we were on the phone and I was like, man, because he asked me, he was like, is there anything you learned? Like, because I told him I loved y'all's episodes with Ben. The three of you guys
streaming
together.
Council.
Yeah. And I was like, actually, there's so much practical stuff that I got. One of the things being, when you waterfall a release.
Yes.
That's something that like, of course I've seen like other artists do it on Spotify, but like I just, for some reason, hearing Josh say like, you can waterfall. And what that means is when you put a previous release with another release, but like the second release has the previous release like
in it. So when somebody streams a single, your release that came out a month ago plays right after the one that you just put out that day.
Yeah. So it's like a 2-song release basically.
Yeah.
Something that simple. It's like, for an independent artist who might not be thinking about those type of things, it's like that helps.
That's so cool to me. And like, honestly, like this is kind of this cool full circle moment because when I started the podcast, dude, I came from a place of I had started touring with bands. I had done all of that tour manager, merch, front of house, photo, day to day, all that. Then worked at a record label, then started managing artists, then started my own label, version 3, and done so much in music. And I think for me, like my purpose, like the thing that I always came back to was I always just thought it was so cool that I had a place where I could help these amazing people. I can't play music at all. And I like view my friends that can create music, write music, play live as like magicians. Like I'm like, I don't know how you do this, but it's amazing. So for me, when I found that like I could be of assistance to them, that my like weird business understandings and this is and that's helped, that was such an honor to me. And throughout my journey, I was like, yeah, it's cool to, you know, work at a label or manage artists. And I really do love it, but it's a little bit more focused than I thought it would be. And what I mean by that is when you work with a band or an artist, you're working with 1 to 5 people and it's amazing to help that, but I wanted to do it bigger. So when I found podcasting and I was like, wait, if I have these conversations and upload them, there's the chance that anyone in the world could hear this and it could help them.
Yeah.
So as the podcaster, you kind of upload these out into the abyss and hope for the best.
Yeah.
There's a couple of YouTube comments, but you don't really hear feedback from a podcast. So like sitting down with you right now because of the podcast is this moment where I'm like, holy fuck.
It's the epitome of full circle.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're like, dude, yeah, I learned stuff from it. I like it. I'm like, holy fuck. Cool. All right.
Yeah. That's why even just being on here, man, it's a privilege, man. And I'm so honored. Hopefully, whether it's just my fans getting to hear from me or a new person, hopefully I can bring some value, whether it's just entertainment or something, you know, I don't know what could come from this, but it's like you said, it's like, let's just talk and put it out and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I think like to me, what I've always enjoyed about podcasts is you can learn a lot through someone's story and through someone's experiences, more so than reading a book or just technical application. There's times where you're just like, how the hell do I get this compressor to do this? Just Google it. There's a YouTube video for it, whatever. But there's certain times where when you hear somebody's stories, you relate to their struggles, something like that kind of gives you those light bulb moments where you're like, what if I did this? Or like the way Josh talked about a waterfall. For some reason, like just him saying that in conversation was enough for you to be like, why am I not doing that?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And yeah, like let's just see where the conversation goes. I think to me, and for any of my listeners, I do want to kind of take a second to shout out your project because I really do think what you're doing is cool. And
heck yeah.
For me, I don't even know it to a deep degree. I have always thought of you as an artist because when we started talking, you were already an artist.
Yeah.
So maybe just paint that picture and then we can get into some specific tangible things and some things you've been paying attention to lately.
Yeah.
But how did you go from finding music to then starting production to then going to artist?
Yeah.
Is that a good question?
Absolutely. Totally. So just like probably everyone listening, I was just a fan of music, but at some point I was like, I think I want to start making beats because I'm from Atlanta. So, you know, I grew up listening to a lot of hip hop and a lot of my favorite songs. It was really because I wasn't really paying attention to the lyrics much. It was just kind of the beats.
Yeah.
I know some rappers are going to hear that and be like rolling their eyes because that's like the worst thing.
I'm like that too. I mean, again, I don't play or make music, but it's a joke. It's a running joke with me that I'm now Andrew Lyrics Cramb because I don't listen to lyrics.
That's funny and sad at the same time because for a lot of artists, I think at least my artist friends, they all agree that writing lyrics is the most like hair pulling part. It's the most difficult part.
Really?
Yeah, because you can hum anyone can hum a melody, but it's like, do you have something to say?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, but I also know people where they write lyrics better than they can come up with melodies.
Right.
So, you know, everyone's
certain
different.
people are like writers, right? Poets, or they express thoughts and they just have that. And what I will say is it's not like I don't hear any lyrics. I think the show of an amazing song is when you can get an Andrew Lyrics Cram type to hear the lyrics and to like have that connect.
Yeah.
Like when somebody who's not necessarily paying attention to it catches and hears something and feels like an emotion and understands, you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I wouldn't classify you as, because you're in the music business, but I feel like what you just said represents a lot of like casual fans.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So to your point, it's like, yeah, can you capture the casual fan?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but Drake was a big person who, when I was first starting out, like I was trying to just copy Drake beats basically. But Drake does such a good job and he doesn't get enough credit, I feel like, as a lyricist. Because you think about all of his songs, like you don't listen to lyrics, but when I say started from the bottom, now we here, like, you know,
I know it.
Right?
Yeah.
And like he has this ability to where it's like the casual fan, now they're putting that as their Instagram caption.
That's a great point.
You know, dude, he's so good. He's the best. He's the best at that.
And that's like, dude, I have the feeling this is going to be a fun podcast because we can take some sidebars. We can tell your story, but I love like talking about these little points. And it's fun to talk like music business, artist, and like compare. I don't think that gets enough credit. It's like that little shortened saying of like, keep it simple, stupid, Kiss. Like, it is an art. It is an absolute talent and skill.
Totally.
To communicate something with less, not more.
Yeah.
So even though lyrics are simple or understandable, does not mean that they're not good.
Oh, absolutely. That even ties into people that are like great Twitter follows, because they just will have like this bomb freaking tweet and it's like either something really funny or something really profound, but they said it in 5 words.
Right.
It's like, dude.
Yeah.
So to your point, yeah, it's a huge skill.
Yeah.
There's absolutely value in that.
So you started off and you were making beats and you're like, cool, this side's easy. Miss me with those lyrics.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I was probably like 15 and I was just like, oh, I love like all my favorite songs, but why are these my favorite songs? It's not because I cared about what the rappers were saying. It was just because, oh, these beats are all kind of similar. Like there's a certain kind of clap that they use that I like, or a certain kind of hi-hat. And so that's when I was like, I wonder, like I'm able to, as a 15-year-old, like identify these elements in the music.
Yeah.
So I was like, I feel like I understand it. I feel like I can do it.
Yeah.
So I downloaded FL Studio, a cracked version of it.
Shout out to the cracked version of FL Studio.
I know, dude. Like FL deserves so much. Like we all owe FL money.
Shout out to the cracked version of any Adobe product and the cracked version of FL Studio, because that has started so many careers.
Dude, I don't know if I should say this, but I still use a cracked Photoshop.
I'm not here to judge you, man.
Yeah. Well, because
Adobe fucking listening to Where Are All My Friends. Do you hear it? Kenji said it.
I know. Maybe we should cut that out. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I still get like the auto message where it's like, you're using like an illegal version. I'm like, oh, I just like X out of it real quick.
So you started with the cracked version of FL Studio?
Yes. I don't anymore. I buy all my plugins now, but yeah. I feel like now I'm like having to defend myself.
Yeah.
You know?
No, trust me. I got a check. I got a streaming check. I fixed it.
Yeah, I'm good now.
No.
Yeah, so I started making beats, and like I said, I just was copying Drake beats. I was doing that for a long time, and then I started getting frustrated that I felt like my production career wasn't going where I felt like it should go or where it should be, and maybe that was like a little bit of entitlement. But for people that know, it's like, it's not like I was just making beats and like hoping for the best. A lot of people know that like I work very hard, and I was very close to giving up is what I'm trying to say.
Really?
Yeah. And that was like 2019. Trying to do the math here because I started releasing music in 2020. Yeah. So it was 2019 and I was in Nashville at the time, and I was around all these songwriters, and I was just inspired to like start writing. And of course, like, what am I going to write to? Well, I'm going to write to my beats, right?
Yeah, it's easier than going on like Track Train or something like that.
Yeah, because I already know like what beats I like anyways. So I started writing to my own beats. I was also living with songwriters, so they had mics around. So I just plugged it in. I started rapping first. I was like, this isn't terrible, right? Like it's not bad. And like I started sending it to like my manager friends, A&Rs, whatever, and they were like. And they all knew me as a producer. So they're like, dude, this beat's amazing. But like, who's the artist? It's like, oh, that's me. They were like, what? And I had a lot of people that I respect. And they were like, yo, you should do something with this. You should release it or something. And, that really encouraged me. And now that's basically today. That's what I'm doing. So I dropped my first project in 2020.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that recent. I mean, I guess I could have looked at the timeline of it, but for some reason I thought you had like archived stuff or you had been at it for longer.
Nah. The first song was January 2020.
Fucking damn.
Yeah, I actually tweeted recently. Since then, I've dropped new music every month. So I dropped new music every month for the last like 20 months. And
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's cool because, you know, we were talking before the podcast. So much has happened. Like I just signed a deal for the artist project.
Yep.
And I don't know, man. It's weird because I almost want to say it was easy, and not to like, I don't know, that could come off like discouraging for people that have been doing the artist thing for years and years and they're struggling so much. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, just be consistent, right?
Yeah. What a big, bold statement to be like, yeah, I just signed a deal. It was easy. So many people will hear that and be like, the fuck?
Yeah.
So like, break that down. Why do you think that was easy for you? What factors got you to that point? Was it mastering your production first? Was it reading the room of current culture and understanding music that people would want to sign and not just making music that you believed in? Was it meeting the right people? Like, what do you think?
I think it was all of those things. When I look at the past year and a half and I look at that, I'm like, man, it was easy. I stand by that. But it's also important because I was producing for years before that too. And that also factors into why the last 1.5, right? Part of that being everything you just said. I did have contacts that I built over the years when I was producing. I will say though, I used to think that connections I think I was overvaluing connections actually, in the sense that like,
me too.
I was so confident in like who I know and like my phone book. Like I have all these numbers of all these important people, whatever. And to this day, like I have some people's phone numbers that like, if you saw it, you'd be like, dude, you know that. But it's like, yeah, but like, maybe that's I don't know how to utilize those connections. Maybe that's what it is. But like, they haven't really served me in any useful way.
I think it's a really humbling thing because I felt that a little bit as well. And it's so far from like the like sweet brag of like, oh, you know this person. But it's like, okay, cool. So you know this person. You know your dream producer. You know your dream person at the label. I remember it so well for me where it wasn't like this, oh my God situation, but I was managing a small pop punk band and I was friends with a much bigger pop punk band. And it was like my early days of managing. And dude, I got checked so hard where I hit up the bigger pop punk band, dude, the kid in the band that does all the business decisions. And we're friends, like legitimate friends. And I was like, bro, I just started managing this band. Can you do me this favor and put them on your fall tour? And he hits me back and he's like, let me ask you a question.
Oh no.
He's like, if you were me, would you say yes? And I stopped and I thought about it. And like, obviously I believed in this band that I managed, but they were too young and it wasn't dialed enough. It wasn't ready for that tour. And I was like, fuck, I wouldn't. And that's kind of, I think to the point of overvaluing connections. It's like, if your product isn't good enough to be put in front of those people, then what's the point? That's my take on it. I'm curious more of yours too. But.
Yeah, I've had like kind of not arguments, but discussions with some of my other friends because they'll urge me like, dude, if you know this person, like, why don't you reach out to them? And my answer is always, well, I don't feel like I bring enough value to them, right? Exactly what you were saying. And I don't know, like they're like, that's such a waste. And like, if I were you, I would do it. I would just reach out to them. What is there, like, you know, if you want to release something on their label, why don't you just send it to them? And I don't know, I just want the trade to be equal.
Yeah. Well, you kind of almost feel like you want to earn it too. And maybe some people are less, I don't want to say self-aware isn't the right word, but certain people just have this crazy amount of self-confidence where they're like, they won't even stop and think like, oh, maybe my product's not great. They're just like, put me on. And you're like, respect, but like then there's that self-awareness sometimes where you're like, is this really the right time? But kind of what I'm hearing in you saying that, and something that a lesson that I've learned myself and I think is important is like, it doesn't matter who you know if you haven't mastered the craft. Like if your product isn't good, it doesn't matter who it gets in front of, because if it's not good, people aren't going to want it. And on the other side of that, if you make a remarkably good product, people will find it. People will like it.
Well, and so that's why I was so frustrated as a producer because, you know, you could say I'm being like super cocky right now, but I felt like my beats were, if not as good as people that were wildly successful, you could argue that I was even better just because I have like music theory knowledge and like I know how to mix and master, like whatever reason, like, you know, and I knew a lot of people. So I was just like, okay, like I'm in the room with these A&Rs. Like I literally, there's no one else that I could meet in Atlanta anyway, right? I was in Atlanta. I knew everybody. I was like in the biggest studios, whatever. And I felt like my beats were like, I felt like my beats were better than everyone else's. I don't know. For whatever reason, it just, my production never connected. Like I actually managed to get in the studios with some of the biggest rappers in the world. Yeah. Right. And like we made music, but like it, you know, for one reason or another, the music didn't come out or, you know, it's the music business. There's 1,000 things that go from making music to it coming out.
Officially being in the public eye and released, yes.
And then, you know, having a song released and having a song that's successful, that's also another,
absolutely
big step.
So, okay, but this is so funny because, again, to go back to that initial point that we started discussing, it was easy in one sense as an artist to get signed.
Yeah.
But here you are. You had the connects, you had the phone book, you had mastered the product as a producer, but it still wasn't clicking.
Yeah.
So what's different then? What's that shift?
Well, I did want to clarify, like signing wasn't the part that to me is easy because, well, that was easy, but like what I was saying was the success that I've seen, like the little success that I've seen, that's what I'm talking about was easy.
And yeah, actually, let's clarify here too, because like, let's not pretend like you're the world's biggest artist and your project is blowing up. It's still very early.
Yes.
And like the
early.
deal, like from what I know of the deal, it's not like you're like out here going to buy your family houses.
No.
So like, I don't think either one of us want to make it look like you're like, oh, look how fucking cool I am.
Yeah, no.
But I think what you just said of like, the feeling and that traction and the way you're getting noticed and like you can tell the difference between production Kenji and artist Kenji, even with this little bit. Right?
Yes. Yeah. No, thank you for clarifying because I don't want people to be like, who does this guy think he is? Talking about it's so easy.
It's so like, easy to get signed.
No. But I don't know. I would like to think like I'm very proud of where I am. And I feel like, again, if you just juxtapose my career, the 2 years of me being an artist, 1.5 years compared, I know people that have been doing it for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want to just compare numbers or whatever, it's like, so to those people, I would say, why do I find it to be easy? Well, this might be getting too practical or whatever, but for me, and I don't know if this is what you were asking, but Facebook ads have been like a game changer.
Let's fucking go. Too practical. You think somebody's listening to this podcast right now and they're like, he's about to give knowledge that's too practical. I want something obscure where I need to search my soul. No, this is amazing. Talk to me.
Actually, just out of curiosity, is like with your demographic, do you find it to be like aspiring artists, music business people, like fans of artists? That's why maybe I'm thinking it's too practical because if a bunch of fans are listening, they're like, okay, we don't care about Facebook ads, you know? Yeah.
No, I think that from what I've seen, the large majority of my audience has been a little bit older than I thought, but like I would say probably like mid 20s when I thought that it would be like 18 through 23, right?
Yeah, okay.
However, the thing that I do notice is it's a lot of people that are interested in bettering themselves or perfecting their craft.
Okay.
So it doesn't really like, maybe they're fans of music, but they're still taking the time to take the deeper cut to learn why their artist cared about something. Or you will get the people that are like, I've been working on this artist project. I've been going to school. I've been trying to do this. Or like some people that already work in the industry and just kind of like to like sharpen their knowledge.
Yeah.
So I think the conversation translates to many because regardless of where you are in those buckets, hearing somebody explain their success with a Facebook ad will be a relevant and interesting thing regardless. Because you're either able to give somebody advice on it and be like, I heard this artist that did it, or you're an artist and you're like, I'm about to go do that shit.
Right.
Or you're just stoked on Kenji and you're like, damn, that's sick. I found him on a Facebook ad, or, whatever.
Right.
So I think it applies.
Heck yeah. So yeah, I think Facebook ads are probably at the time that we're recording this, still
Yep.
one of the best ways to get your music discovered. I just spent probably like 2 weeks really learning how to use it.
Yeah.
And getting the targeting down super well. So I signed this deal, and I was actually talking to they have I don't know what they call it, like a tech team or something to help with these type of things. And I was telling them, I was like, hey, I've optimized my ads to the point that like I'd like to see what you guys could do, but I feel like my ads are probably going to be better. So this much of the budget, like I was asking, like, can you guys just give it to me?
Yeah.
And like I'll just run my own ads, right? To the point where my ads like convert, and this is gonna get super nerdy, but they convert. Please. Dude, I've got my conversions down to less than 2 cents.
Have you?
Yeah. So
I thought I was doing good when I worked at a label. I thought I was doing good at 6 cents.
And that is good.
Yeah, but
that is good. People should know that 10 cents is good.
Yeah.
But I got mine down to 2 cents at one point. I mean,
you just searching for people that in their bio say, I'm a huge fan of Kenji?
basically, and like honestly, once you learn it, it's really not even that complicated. At least like what I'm talking about, like within Facebook, it's not that complicated. But there's other things like what kind of ads are you running, like the visuals, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you have a video? What part of the song? All of that plays into converting.
Do you think one thing that I found, and I'll be honest with you, like I personally am so excited to hear this because I need to brush up on my game, and I've been slacking on Facebook ads. I don't do any for the podcast. So as you're saying this, I'm like, maybe it's time.
Yeah.
One thing that I found though, when I was doing them for the label, was that very clear, direct pictures of the artist's face was extremely important.
Yep.
And an A/B test that I did was the difference between, it was like a Vans Warped Tour shot. And it was like an artist that was performing on it. And it was looking at the artist, taking the photo of them singing versus the crowd from the drum riser seeing all the crowd. Because to the artist, think about it, that's impressive. Like the artist sees the whole sold out crowd and they're like, flex. Exactly. Yeah. But then to the fan and who you want to get, they want to see their lead singer right there singing to them. And that was something that I had to practically learn. And as soon as I figured it out, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But having come from touring, I was like, I want to see that big ass crowd shot. That's sick.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I thought the same thing. I was also A/Bing things when I was trying to get my ads good. I had very super polished, like high definition like shots. But they never did as well as literally like an iPhone video of me in my room.
Really?
Yeah, like people, for whatever reason, psychologically you can explain it that like it's just more comfortable, whatever. So yeah, like it's almost like you should do something less, like lower quality almost.
Yeah.
And
we've seen that with social media too, right? Like Instagram engagement.
Yep.
Non-pro
like
photos.
Selfies. Yeah. From your phone do way better than like a studio shot of you doing something. Yeah. So for me, I'll just tell people like the ads that do the 2 cent conversions are the ones of me on my iPhone. I shoot it with my iPhone and it's just me with my guitar singing in my room. And I will say I'm usually just lip syncing. It's not like I'm actually singing it live, right?
Yeah.
So you just shoot that like 15 seconds. You use that as your ad, and then you find the best part of the song, whatever. Get your targeting right.
Yep.
Like you have to know your audience. That's a big part because a lot of artists ask, or some of my friends have asked me, like, but like, how do you know who your audience is? That part I always struggle to answer because I don't know how to answer that.
I could maybe add something to that.
Yeah.
Well, when my very first start in business, before I even worked in music, I worked for a dental sales consulting company.
Okay.
And they would send out direct mail postcards and they would target dentists and they'd say, do you want more fee for service patients? And that means that patients without insurance, without HMOs or PPOs.
Okay.
Because for a dentist office, when you have a cash paying patient, it's much better all around. So when you would promote to one of those doctors, you'd say, hey, do you want more cash paying patients? And they'd be like, well, yeah, of course. How do you get those? Whatever. But then it would teach these doctors how to get their ideal patients. And it was a very simple question. And I don't know if this applies to music, but I'm curious, where it was just, tell us, what's your ideal patient? And they'd say like, oh, well, somebody who's a cash paying patient, somebody who cares about their dental health, somebody who's on time, whatever. And then it was like, okay, cool, reverse engineer how to target them.
Yeah.
So I wonder if somebody's having trouble finding their fans, could you not say, who is your perfect ideal fan? Like could you not then say, I want to associate closer to these artists?
Yes. I would say what you just said is probably the most step-by-step way you can get there, because within Facebook, how you do it is you do target by interest, right? So you can do it by genre. So if you make pop music, then you can actually target pop music in Facebook.
Right.
And depending on the size of the artist, you can also target the fans of an artist if they're big enough. So like, Post Malone, I use Post Malone a lot because my music is somewhat in that lane.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, like if you make music that's like a super obscure band, like an obscure band, you're probably not going to be able to target them, even if they have like a sizable audience. They have to be huge. For you to target.
I've seen that too. Like Post Malone's a great one, and like we all know Post Malone it's so big now that it is its own thing that can be targeted. But if you go a little bit deeper like that, and you're like, I don't know, into like fun, goofy beats and like Lil Yachty, like maybe you could do that. But then if you were to go deeper and be like, I want all the wintertime fans, like you're not going to be able to connect them. So like, another thing is, I would have to imagine your fan base is younger.
Yeah, for sure.
Am I just like so out of touch now that I just assume that there's no young people on Facebook? Do they still exist?
Oh, well, I use Facebook ads, but I run the ads on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Huge point of clarification.
I should have clarified that. Yeah, it's on Instagram. So like Instagram stories or even like the feed.
Okay.
post.
Okay. All right. Yes. That's a great thing to clarify. Because even myself, like I should have known that, but I'm sitting there thinking and I'm like, do you really want my mom and dad to be fans of yours?
Right. No, but I've heard Facebook, even within Facebook.com, like those still do very, very good.
Wow.
Yeah. Especially depending on like what kind of music you make.
Yeah.
Right. If you make like country music or something, I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Yes. There's different audiences on different platforms.
Yes. The point of Facebook ads, right, is just to drive traffic to you. Right. And so for a lot of people that might not have a budget, because with Facebook ads, you're paying for that. Right. I don't know how much money I've spent on it, but just for people to understand, I still use Facebook ads. Like I have Facebook ads running right now.
Could you say hundreds or thousands?
It's definitely over 10,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But that's over since January of 2020. Like
2 years.
If you think over the course of 2 years, what does that come out to be? It's not much. It's like a couple hundred a month or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that like it's not much, but like if you're 17 and you're listening to this, you might be like, I can't do that. Well, you don't have to. Like, you have TikTok, right? I don't use TikTok.
That was my question I was going to ask you. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I have a bunch of homies that literally, I remember like this, one of my friends, she had like 900 followers on Instagram, whatever. She like started posting on TikTok. Now on TikTok, she has almost 2 million. And now her Instagram following is like into the tens of thousands. Right. And that was free.
Right.
It's the same effect of what I'm doing. Like I just was driving traffic. She was driving traffic through the TikTok algorithm. I was driving traffic through ads that I was paying for.
Yeah.
I still prefer ads just because I control it. She can't control that, right? She's at the mercy of the algorithm.
Do you think that you get a different quality of fan?
Yeah, I don't know that the quality of the fans. I think my fans are amazing, right? And a lot of my artist friends are like jealous, right? Because a lot of my artist friends, they also do Facebook ads, but it also there's so many factors, because a lot of my friends are rappers. So like for some reason for them, their fans are just not, they seem to be not as supportive as my fans.
Yeah.
But I'm also doing a lot of things with the traffic. Like once you drive traffic, what are you doing? Because anyone can run ads. Okay. Yes. Anyone can hit a lick on the freaking algorithm and dude, I woke up and I had 10,000 followers. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Right. Are you ready to capitalize on that? For me, I didn't know what I was doing, but I started using Discord once I started running ads.
Oh.
Dude, and the Discord, I mean, today before I came over here, I was on Discord talking with my fans. And because I just announced some shows that I'm doing, right? And all people see is like Instagram and like, oh yeah, like, but nah, dude, where all the engagement is happening is on Discord.
Yo, you are bringing some heat to this podcast right now.
Yeah, dude. Like, so if you're an artist, maybe even beyond being an artist, but definitely if you're an artist, you need to be on Discord.
I'm listening to all this for the podcast. I'm just like, dude, I'm not running ads for the podcast. I'm not on Discord. Dude, I have one for the Patreon supporters, but like it's very empty. Like it's not popping.
If there is a way, because I was thinking about doing a Patreon as well. You should, if you can, I don't know if this goes against like the Patreon rules, but you should open up the Discord that you have publicly and just keep some of the Patreon stuff like private.
Yeah, why don't you just do a sub channel, right?
Exactly.
Just do a private Patreon sub channel and like drop other stuff or have other discussions there.
So keep it exclusive for the Patreon people, but open it up for everyone. I feel like that would actually make it better for the patrons too.
Yeah, totally.
Just because more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
Especially in Discord, more the merrier. It's a community, so you want it to be full and lively. And dude, like my Discord, here's the thing, how I describe it to my artist friends is once you can get your fans or just even followers, they don't even have to be fans. And that is an important distinction, right?
Yeah.
Not all your followers are fans of you. They might just have liked something one time and they just followed you for something. But like once you can get anyone in your Discord, what I found, if you have like what I call like a fringe follower, you can get them to become a super fan way faster than just posting on Twitter or whatever.
Oh, because it's a closer connection. It's real.
Yeah, it just like expedites the process of somebody becoming really, really invested.
Yeah.
That also is a lot of work though. So in my Discord, I'm very active in my Discord. Not as much because now I have moderators and like I call them staff. And I have maybe like 6 people helping me run the Discord.
Yeah. And like, dude, straight up educate me because I'm slacking on Discord. Like, what do you talk about? Like, what should an artist be talking? Like, what do you do?
Everything. I'm talking about people. I have a channel in my Discord where we just encourage each other and we talk about what we're thankful for.
Damn.
Like it gets deep. I'm talking about it's really, really like a family. It sounds so cliche, but it's like I care about these people. I tell them all the time, if you're ever in the city and you need somebody to pick you up at the airport, I'm there.
Oh my God.
And like people are like, what kind of artist? Like whatever. This is crazy. And like, so that's why.
Dude, I'm joining that shit fucking tonight, man.
Yeah,
fly into ATL. What's good?
And dude, I really have a relationship with my fans. I really love them. And so like it's like you said, I'm not the biggest artist, but when I post something or I post up merch or something, it's like, why are so many people supporting me?
Yeah.
Based on my size.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, I know people that have way more followers than me. But it's like I'll drop a song and it'll stream way more.
Yeah. And like again, I don't really view this as you like trying to flex or it being some ego thing, but it's just like what we're really breaking down here and thinking about is like you've built a connection.
Yep.
You're not just like being like, I have this number, so I'm entitled to this. You're just like, yo, y'all showed up. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family.
Yep.
Here's Discord. What are you all about? Here's this whole other community.
Yeah.
By the way, I dropped a song this week. Do you want to listen?
Yep.
Kind of thing where it's just a lot different.
Yeah.
It's a simple concept, but it kind of is worth, maybe this is that waterfall moment. Maybe this is somebody hearing this, understanding what Discord is, but then like hearing it said from other people being like, I do need to start doing my releases as waterfalls and I do need to start a Discord. Absolutely. I'm hearing that myself.
Heck yeah. Dude, I can't say enough good things about Discord. I mean, I'm in there every week. We do weekly events. So we do like game nights.
Do you?
Like lately we've been playing a lot of Uno.
Tight.
So I'll just be in there playing Uno with fans, watching we do movie nights. I also use the Discord. This is another great thing because once you have that infrastructure there, you can start getting creative. So I started doing cover contest.
Okay.
And it's a great system. Like it's just so easy to write up rules and there's like a submission process. It makes it very easy. So I also do like giveaways. I'll just do giveaway merch and I'll do it all through Discord. Like I was telling you, I also do a podcast. So like, so for people that are listening, there's no shortcut here.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. So when I say it's easy, I don't know. I still believe it. It's not.
No, you just like, that is it. You just said it. Like you just said that you have put over 10K in Facebook ads and that you would, I mean, we're talking easily 10 hours a week on Discord, if not more, like with everything.
In the beginning, it was so much more than that because I was putting it together. But yeah, I wouldn't know how to measure it, but I'm on there a lot.
Yeah. Like
I'm on there a lot.
You're daily. You could
definitely
yes.
daily.
So it's like all these things, like I get it. Yes, it's easy, but that doesn't mean that that's not work and time
exactly
and your hard-earned money into pouring it back into your project.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't put anywhere near that amount of money into advertising this podcast, and I've played around with ads. So like, I'm really appreciative that you are sharing numbers like that and specifics so granular, because it makes it very encouraging, and it makes it, instead of this artist trying to be cocky, you're just like, yo, like it was easy in the sense of like the steps of the work were clear. Didn't mean the work didn't need to be done.
Yes.
But at least the steps were clear.
Yeah. Maybe a better word than easy is simple. It's simple, but people would argue that doesn't sound simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm like, now I'm rethinking how I should have worded it, but
it's clear.
It's clear.
Like the steps were clear.
But it wasn't clear when I was going into it. Yeah. Like I said, I was just figuring it out. Maybe it's easy in hindsight. I'm looking back at it and like, I don't know, man. Like, that's not to say I didn't have my moments of like doubt, but that's everybody.
Well, here's something like I remember, I don't know if you caught this episode, but Adam Goes Ham.
I'm pretty sure I've listened to almost every episode. So.
Okay, fuck yeah. So Ham on Everything, super cool, like LA club night.
I think I listened, yeah.
And at the very end, we weren't even talking about work. I think we were talking about more just like finding yourself and listening to yourself, loving yourself kind of thing. He's been through so much. And he said this thing to me, and I hear it all the time now. But it was along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, but like, you don't need to know the full road ahead of you. He used this analogy of like being on a windy road at night and your headlights only shine so far. You're not going to see the whole road, but you're going to see however many feet ahead of you. And that's all you need to see.
Yeah.
You don't need to see the whole road.
That's good.
So like that to me really hit me, because I'm so much the person where I want to see the next 10 years of my life, and I want it to be as tangible as that. And it's just not.
Yeah.
But if you really stop and break it down, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't need to know the next 10 years. You need to know the next, 3 months, whatever.
Yeah.
And another thing that I say is like, I believe that in any given time with wherever you're at in your life, there's 3 things that you could say that you need to do right now. Like you could probably tell me the next 3 things you need to do in your artist project to get to the next level. 3 things on your to-do list, whatever. So it kind of sounds like you just kept those in focus as you've gone through this journey.
Yeah.
You had an inkling about Facebook marketing, so you did it, and you fully learned it and fully did it properly.
Yeah.
That led to fans coming in.
Yep.
Then you're like, okay, well, what do I do if I have fans coming in?
Yeah.
I need to engage with them.
Right.
Where do I do that?
Yep.
So it's really like you've only got that little bit of headlights shining on it. You only have those 3 things, but that's all you need. And that's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to boil it down. Cause like even with the Discord, it wasn't even as like strategized. The Discord actually came about because it was in the thick of the pandemic, and everybody was like going through that funk, and Yale had kind of announced that they were doing a free happiness course.
Oh,
right?
I feel like I remember that.
Yeah. They called it like the science of well-being, and it was a free course. And I just tweeted it, and I was like, hey, like Yale's doing this thing. Like, if anybody wants to do it with me, it's free. Like, let's just do it. Let's do this thing together. And like a bunch of people were like, dude, this is an amazing resource. Thank you for sharing it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And it was mad people. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I facilitate all these people? Because what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to people and like say, what did you learn from today? Like, how does this apply to your life? Whatever. And so that's how it started. I didn't actually make the Discord for music at all in the beginning. It wasn't until like people kept joining, and then I got up to like 30 people. I just instantly realized like all these people were talking, and they were all there because at first it was for the Yale thing, but then I posted it on Instagram, and then all these people were like, so like, what is this? Some people started joining and they didn't even know it was for the happiness course. They were like, what they were asking in the Discord. They're like, what's this science class? Yeah. Long story short, it kept growing. And so eventually it was like hundreds of people were coming in.
Yeah.
Right. It started out with this small thing and now it's like over 1,000. It's like 1,000.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. And it keeps growing, dude. Like I'm talking every day there's people that are coming in.
Dude, that's so huge. And like you talk about like a community. And like I think we get so lost in seeing like, oh, did you see how many followers this person has Instagram? Oh, they have XK. And then it's like, all right, but like again, what's that mean?
Right.
Whereas like when you're building a community and when there's like, think about 1,000 real people, think about those people in our room.
Yep.
That's a big ass show. That's a big ass room.
Yeah.
And like the depth of that connection is so much more valuable than having like a bunch of random not interested followers that, you know, like you posted some photo.
Yeah. You know, having that community, it's like if I ever post something and like the engagement isn't doing very well, I almost feel like it's cheating because I'll just go on Discord and be like, hey guys, can you like run this up? And they're like 1,000 of like my super fans. They literally like, if I'd asked them, dude, honestly, one time I was even thinking, I was like, if I asked them to just stream my song and just leave it on all night, I know they're going to do it. But then I didn't want to like, you know, scare off like the algorithm in Spotify to get me flagged or something. Because I know they would do it. And like, you know what I'm saying? But the quality there, and because you asked earlier, like, is the quality of the fan? It's like, I don't know that how you drive traffic is going to dictate it. It's like, what are you going to do?
How you convert that traffic and what you do. And again, that's not like, you can't manufacture that. Like that sounds like such like a businessy term. Like, how are you converting your traffic? Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like when you actually stop and think about a real good conversion, it's a connection and you're giving them something of value.
Yep.
And it's not just like some fucking extra algorithm that you can set up to make sure you get a quality person. It's a connection and a person.
Yeah. Thank you again for like clarifying that, because I don't want people to hear that and be like, I don't know. You can definitely, when it comes to like the business terms, like I definitely can, the coldness of the terms, but nah, dude, there's many days that I'm on Discord and it's like literally like we're crying together. Cause bro, it's like, dude, the community is amazing. I can't speak enough to that. It's like, dude, people on there like have had like low-key breakthroughs. Like some people are so nervous to join the voice chats because there's a lot of people, right? So like I'll just be on the voice chats hanging out with fans and there might be like 30 people and some people like will speak up for the first time and they'll just ask me something super simple like, how are you doing today? And then they'll just like mute themselves after that. And then I'm just like, oh, I'm good. And then whatever. And then like, because I respond to them later on, they'll be like, dude, I've never like, I was so scared to like talk. And like, I don't know, like when I did the cover contest, you know, people were like, oh, this is the first time I've ever made music before. Or it's like, this is the first time like I've ever shared something like that I've made. Cause you know, like after they do the covers, like I tell them to post it.
Yeah.
Those things, like they mean so much.
Yes, dude. And it's cool too. Like I think I've got a couple years on you, but when I was like first kind of finding my own friends and community on the internet, I was so big into cars and there were car forums, and forums still exist, but they're not as poppin'. It seems like it's now gone to kind of like the Discords, but it was this magical place that didn't quite feel like social media because it wasn't so much how good does this photo look? How good do I look? How many followers do I have? How many likes did this get? It was more, what value are you bringing to the forum and the community? And that got respected. Yeah. So like I was really into Hondas and I had this little Honda and I want to do an engine swap. So like little 16-year-old me is out here on the internet reading, trying to learn how to put a whole different engine in a car. And there were people on those forums that took the time. Video content wasn't like as poppin', like YouTube wasn't the same YouTube where you could search anything, but they would take photos and there would be step-by-step photos of like how to rewire the engine's computer and like how to unbolt and switch axles and this is and that's and where to mount the engine lift. And like people did that And those people were so well respected
Right.
amongst those forums because they were bringing so much knowledge to the forums. And sometimes I get a little sad because I feel like that value is lost, and it's just, how can you sell fit tea to your followers on Instagram?
Yeah.
That's when I'm being cynical about it. But hearing you explain your Discord brings me back to that. And that's what I'm hearing is like, maybe you realize it, maybe you don't, but that person that's saying in your Discord for the first time on a cover, you might have sparked their ability and their excitement for an entire music career.
Yeah, man.
And that's community. And that's like, again, you and I are sitting down here because of the community side of the internet. Like, that's that shit I do like.
Yeah, exactly, man. I spend so much time on Discord, and we're on the VCs all the time. And yeah, dude, there's always like a kid that's like so young, like 13, and they're just asking me all these questions like, what do you do about this? And it's like, I love it, man. Like, I love, it feels so good to just like help or like be there for people, or just like when people say like, man, I look up to you. It's like, that's what I mean. Like, I'll start crying, dude. It's like, I don't want to call them kids, but I mean, they are. They're like 13, and they're like, dude, I look up to you. And it's like, man, like, on one hand, it's like, I'm not a role model by any stretch
like,
of like anything.
Find better idols. I'm not the one.
But I don't know. I guess I looked up, I looked up to a lot of my favorite artists or whatever. And, who knows what they were doing behind closed doors. But anyways, neither here nor there. But
no, like I understand what you're saying. It's like, no, does it feel weird to be like in some role model look up to position? No, you're like, I'm just out here existing. I'm a human and I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
But again, the community, the wow, that's cool that this person can take something positive away from me and that I can influence and inspire people in a cool way. That feels rad. I think everybody likes that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah.
It was like right before we started recording, you kind of made the point to be like, look, dude, I don't want this to just be all about me and all about like this, and this. And you wanted to provide value. You wanted to have a conversation that people could take something from. And I love the direction that this went because dude, I'm sitting here learning. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, all right, I need to go hard on Discord. I need to master ads. Like, you've given some gems here.
Heck yeah.
But to conclude the story of Kenji, so here you are now as an artist.
Yeah.
You just kind of wrapped that first deal that you signed.
Yep.
You're putting music out consistently every month, which I respect so much. Is there anything else to conclude the story? I mean, not conclude because you're still going, you're still in it, but like just to kind of bring us up to current speed with the artist project. What are you focusing on? What are you going to do next? What are you excited about?
So I just signed the deal, like you said. I think I closed a couple days ago, 5 days ago or something like that. So while I've been here in LA, I've been wrapping up my next couple of songs, which are going to be the first songs on the label. So yeah, just focusing on the music, starting to do shows for the first time in my life ever.
Wow.
Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's my first shows back. No, these are my first shows ever.
Holy shit.
So I have a show here in LA. Well, I mean, the show will have passed by the time this podcast is out, but
so it was amazing. It was so good.
It was so lit. Yeah, so doing shows. I got one coming up in Atlanta, which is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
That one will still be, tickets will still be for sale when this comes out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's focusing on shows. And for the first time in my life, I've never considered touring as an option for me because I was just a producer, right? Like, I did have like a little stint of like doing the EDM DJ thing for a little bit.
A lot of people start there.
Yeah.
A lot of people start there.
Like with all my production stuff, that also didn't connect. So anyways, just focusing on the music, and who knows, man, I don't know, just growing the community.
That's exciting. I'm really glad that we're sitting down and having this conversation right now, because I have the feeling that we could be sitting down a year later or whenever later and kind of recapping and looking back at what this was the beginning of.
Yeah.
Because really, like, yeah, cool, you've had success, and we've talked about, is easy the right word? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you've had success. You've figured it out to some degree, but really this is still just the beginning. Like,
totally.
There's so much more to go.
Yep.
And these shows and the growth of your project and you as an artist, like, you've still got so much left to go.
So much, man.
So it's kind of cool to sit down right now in this moment and just like timestamp it.
Heck yeah.
It's cool. That's real cool. Where can everybody find you? What's the best place to connect with you?
I guess just on socials at OK Kenji, OK spelled out. I'm sure it'll be in like the titles and stuff. So
yeah.
Everything across everything is just at OK Kenji.
Well, thank you so much, man. I'm so glad we got to do this. It's such a cool full circle moment. I'm so honored that you found wait, how did you find the podcast?
I think it was on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was suggested.
Holy shit, you got us suggested?
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, YouTube gods.
Yeah, that algorithm was definitely blessing you because it kept suggesting you. But I think it was because you used to interview like, I know people hate the term, but like emo rappers.
Yep.
And so I was trying to find interviews of like Shinigami and people like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're right in that genre. So it kind of, I was telling one of my friends about the pod today, and he was like, "Yeah, like what's the pod?" And I was actually stumbling. I didn't even think about it. I was like, "Well, like I think he does mostly emo rappers." That's what I said.
Totally. But that's like right. Like that's a good thing in a sense to just like No Jumper. You know who's going to be on No Jumper. That's a strength. Yeah. So it's a little bit interesting. It's a little hard.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've always kind of come back to just like be our authentic self and have authentic conversations and let that be the through line.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you are a diehard listener, you'll understand that. And there will be that bigger picture of like, if they're on the show, it's somebody that Andrew genuinely thinks has a cool, inspiring story, can bring value, is there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of trust.
Yeah.
I have to build a lot of trust for somebody to say, I'm going to give you an hour of my time, even though I have no friggin' idea the name of this person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, I think that model works with a big podcast, but I do still have to be very aware of like building it to that level because it needs to be an elevator pitch. Like my elevator pitch is the how I built this of music, but the more specific and narrow you can be, the better.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I struggle with it.
Dude, you're doing great, man.
I'm honored by that, honestly. And I'm even more honored by that to now hear your story. And like, I respect the fuck out of what you're doing. So like to hear that a smart person like yourself is giving me that compliment, I'm like, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I think it's very mutual.
Hell yeah. So there it is. I hope you liked that episode. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Seriously, I'm sitting here a couple days later recording this intro and outro, still thinking about how much he's got me thinking on what I can do even to continue growing the podcast. And on that line, I'm curious, as a listener, if you've made it here to the end, you probably care enough to listen to these episodes and have probably heard other ones of them. What's the best way that we could build a community together? Do you use Discord? Is that something we should start doing? Should we stay with Instagram DMs and staying in touch like that? Facebook groups? I think that's just for old people. But let me know, because I want to build something. I want to build a deeper community for Where Are All My Friends? And I was really inspired by this episode. So please shoot me a DM on Instagram and let me know where you have discussions and where you look for community online, because it'd be really cool to build something like that. We do have a tiny Discord channel for the Patreon, but I feel like I could make that a little bit bigger and more open if that is the right platform to do it. So shoot me a message and let me know. That would mean so much. If you want to do all the other good stuff, if you haven't already, subscribe, rate it, share it with friends, and make sure to follow Kenji as well, because I'm really excited with what his project is going to be and what he's already doing right now. And that says it. Thank you as always for listening. I'll be back next week with another episode.